For decades, the US-Canada relationship was the gold standard built on shared values, an open border, and a deeply integrated economy. Disagreements happened, but they were family squabbles always resolved with diplomacy. The alliance was so stable it rarely made headlines until now. In 2025, everything changed. The US-Canada relationship is on fire. President Trump's second term brought relentless attacks, tariffs, insults, threats to tear up trade deals. Canada, not China or Russia, has faced the most personal and aggressive campaign from the White House. So, what's really happening here? This isn't by chance, it's a calculated move. Let's break down the 5 reasons why Trump is singling out Canada like never before.
The first reason is also the most revealing. President Trump has openly stated that Canada should be the 51st state. Far from being a compliment, this reflects a worldview where Canada isn't seen as a sovereign ally, but as a subordinate territory. In this framework, policy disagreements aren't treated as normal diplomacy. They're viewed as disobedience. For example, when Canada joined France and the UK in announcing plans to recognize a Palestinian state on July 30, 2025, Trump lashed out, but only at Canada. He warned it would now be very hard to negotiate a trade deal, yet he made no such threats toward France or the UK. In Trump's view, Canada doesn't just make international decisions, it's supposed to clear them with him first. Trump has long accused Canada of underinvesting in defense and free riding on American military protection. His rhetoric suggests he doesn't see the border as a true divide, calling it an artificial line, and framing Canada as part of a collective defense effort that shouldn't act without U.S. approval. This perceived entitlement fuels his combative tone. When Canada takes an independent stance, Trump doesn't view it as a sovereign choice. He sees it as stepping out of line. Understanding this mindset is essential. In Trump's view, the conflict isn't with a foreign nation, it's an internal rebellion, and he's determined to win.
Trump's weapon of choice, IEEPA, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. This act gives the president sweeping authority to regulate commerce after declaring a national emergency. This law, meant for rogue states and terrorists, gives the president sweeping authority over commerce after declaring a national emergency. Historically, it's been used against Iran, North Korea, and terrorist financiers, not allies. In April 2025, Trump weaponized the concept of a national emergency. He aimed it squarely at the northern border, citing illegal migration and fentanyl to unlock extraordinary presidential powers. The real goal? Unleash massive tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and energy, bypassing Congress entirely. The president sidestepped the Constitution's checks on trade, classifying commerce with Canada as a national threat. The tariffs weren't about fixing trade, they were about inflicting pain and forcing Ottawa to surrender. By invoking IEEPA, Trump turned a civil dispute into an economic war. Businesses can't plan when the president can declare their supply chain a threat overnight. This is a dramatic expansion of presidential power, setting a precedent that any president can declare an emergency for any reason and seize control of trade. Even American consumers were at risk, but Trump was willing to gamble to maximize pressure. IEEPA is a tool of domination, not diplomacy. By using it against Canada, Trump showed every US ally that their economic relationship is only as secure as the president's mood. The normal rules of trade are gone. The president is judge, jury, and executioner. The US-Canada relationship is now defined by fear, not trust. Allies everywhere are watching and worrying.
Reason 3, the digital economy. Data is the new oil and Canada tried to tax it. In 2024, Canada passed a 3% digital services tax targeting global tech giants, mostly American. Ottawa argued it was about fairness. Tech firms make billions from Canadians but pay little tax. The U.S. saw it as a direct attack on its most powerful industry. Trump inherited the dispute and escalated it fast. For him, this wasn't tax policy, it was a foreign country picking America's pockets. Protecting big tech became a nationalist crusade. In June 2025, Trump called the Canadian tax a blatant attack and froze all trade talks. Under pressure from emergency tariffs and a total freeze-out, Canada caved. Prime Minister Carney repealed the tax. While many countries have introduced digital taxes, the U.S. response to Canada's move was unusually harsh. sending a clear, punitive message aimed squarely at its closest ally. The warning was unmistakable: challenge U.S. tech, and you'll face consequences. For Trump, it was a political triumph. He pressured an ally into retreat, positioning himself as a defender of American industry. Canada became the global cautionary tale: take on Silicon Valley and expect overwhelming force. The digital war gave Trump a modern justification for his broader campaign. It wasn't bullying a friend, it was standing up to unfair foreign taxation. The chilling effect is real. Smaller countries now know they have little sovereignty over digital regulation. Any attempt to tax or regulate U.S. tech will be met with economic retaliation. The digital tax war wasn't just about 3%, it was about who writes the rules for the global economy. Trump made it clear, it's him. The digital front is closed, for now. But the precedent is set. The U.S. will defend its tech giants at all costs. Canada learned that lesson the hard way. And, the world is watching, the next battle: economic nationalism. Let's break it down.
At the core, pure economic nationalism, Trump's America First doctrine. For him, there are no win-win scenarios. If America wins, someone else must lose, even a friend. Attacking Canada is politically easy. It looks tough, generates headlines, and carries less risk than confronting China. In 2025, Trump resurrected old fights: softwood lumber, dairy, autos, accusing Canada of cheating America. But this time, it's all leverage for the 2026 USMCA trade deal review. Trump's goal forced companies to move operations back to the US. He uses tariffs, emergency powers, and the looming USMCA review to make investing in Canada risky. It's manufactured instability. Why build a factory in Ontario if the rules could change overnight? The uncertainty is a tool of economic coercion. This isn't about fair trade, it's about managed trade, dictated from the Oval Office. Trump wants to control where companies invest and create jobs. The integrated North American economy is, in his view, a problem to be solved. He's burning bridges to force everyone to stay on his side. The goal, a made-in-America economy, even if it means higher prices and less efficiency. This is a radical departure from decades of US policy, which saw Canadian prosperity as a benefit. Trump rejects that. A dollar earned in Canada is a dollar lost to America. He refers to Canadian auto plants as if they're foreign competitors, overlooking how closely they're integrated with US suppliers. He simplifies a complex ecosystem into us versus them. This economic nationalism is the engine of the conflict. The 51st state mindset justifies it, emergency powers enable it, and the digital tax provides a pretext. The underlying motive: America rises only if its partners are put in their place. And Canada is the first to be taught that lesson. The stakes are enormous for both countries. The old rules are gone. The new rules, America first. Next, the strategy behind the chaos.
The fifth reason: deliberate disruption, a strategy built on chaos. This isn't random, it's the Madman theory in action. By being unpredictably tough on Canada, Trump sends a message: no ally is safe. Alliances and treaties are temporary, only deals matter, and the terms can change at any moment. This keeps allies off balance, always guessing what's next. When world leaders see what's happening to Canada, they wonder, are we next? It's classic divide and conquer. 1 week, Canada is cast as the villain, hit with a sudden tariff hike from 25% to 35% with no clear justification. Meanwhile, Mexico is praised and granted a generous 90-day extension. What message does that send? That Canada's border is somehow less secure than Mexico's? Of course not. The real goal: isolate Canada, fracture the North American alliance, and pressure Ottawa into backing down. It's psychological warfare. Canada is the first domino. If Trump can bring his closest ally to heel, it proves his disruptive approach works. The attacks seem personal and relentless because this is about reordering America's relationships. Diplomats now spend more time analyzing Trump's moods than building relationships. The risk allies may form their own blocks, eroding trust and making cooperation on global issues harder. But for now, Trump bets that fear is more effective than trust. The chaos also serves a domestic purpose, keeping him in the headlines, projecting strength and energizing his base. The Canada conflict is a running storyline, reinforcing the narrative that only Trump can fix America's problems. This creates immense friction, but in his view, it also gives him ultimate leverage. One week he's blasting Canada, the next, he might be praising another leader for their cooperation. This isolates Canada, making it feel alone and more likely to cave to his demands. It's a brutal, high-stakes game of divide and dominate, and he's positioned Canada as the first domino he needs to topple to prove it works.
So, let's recap. A 51st state mindset that demands obedience, the weaponization of emergency powers, a punitive war over digital taxes, a zero-sum America First ideology, and a grand strategy of keeping allies off balance. It's a multi-front assault on America's closest and most reliable partner. So was Trump just playing hardball? Or did he fundamentally miscalculate and push America's best friend too far, forcing it to finally look for new allies from emergency tariffs to digital retaliation? Canada became the unexpected primary target of Trump's 2025 agenda. The consequences of this high-stakes game are still unfolding. Let us know in the comments. Do you think Trump's strategy with Canada is smart or dangerously short-sighted? Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the related video on your screen for more fascinating content. Explore our channel for even more exciting videos. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Globe Gazette for more incredible stories. Your support means everything to us. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.